Proxies. Are they needed? Should they be used? Are you against them? Are you for them? I personally am for them. Let's talk about why though. Hey, my name's Izzy. This is Rolling Virtual Cards. And this is Proxies in Magic the Gathering. Also, this is my podcast. As you can see, I have 212 cards in this deck. Equivalating to $28,907.96. And these are a handful of cards that people should proxy, reasons why. But let's break this down. So, luckily, there's the perfect example for a commander to use for this deck. Not that this is a sliver deck, right? It's too much cards, but just a list of cards here. But Sliver Queen is a $300 card. And, you know, let's be fair. I'm going to hit this update to cheapest. Okay? This will confirm that every card's cheaper. I just dropped it by like $1,000 there, okay? So this makes every card the cheapest it can be. Okay? Sliver Queen is still $300. It is on the reserve list, okay? There is no way to get rid of the reserve list. Personally, I don't think there is. I honestly think the reserve list will be here forever. And due to that, just due to that, the fact that there are a bunch of cards that you might want to play, but can't get your hands on, let alone for a good enough price, makes me go, Proxy. If you want to play the Sliver Queen, please, unless you have so much excess money that $300 won't make a dent. I mean, let's say you get a damaged one for $100. Don't spend $100 on cardboard, please. 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 I'm going to keep seeing please in this video. If you don't like that, I don't know, subscribe anyway. If you do like that, also subscribe. But that's the thing. The Sliver Queen is one of my favorite commanders. It has a super simple one-card combo. Actually, I think it has 2 or 3 super simple one-card combos with itself and another card. It's a super interesting sliver. It also just creates a lot of tokens and can just be built as a token generator. But it's a 5-color token deck that generates the tokens. It's the only 5-color token deck that generates the tokens. And I love slivers. I find them interesting. And she's like such an interesting commander. We will never get her reprinted. Now, in the story, sure, maybe they are setting up with Eternities more sliver stuff, because we are getting a sliver card in there that is standard legal and stuff. So maybe we're gonna get another Sliver Queen that'll be similar to this Sliver Queen but won't be the same. And in that case, I enjoy that. I enjoy the idea of them taking these restricted cards, these reserve list cards, and going, oh, we'll just make a different version of them. It's the same commander. It's still Sliver Queen, but it's Sliver Queen the second. And it's like, it's still Wooburg. It's like an 8/8 because it's bigger or something and better. And it's a sliver. I don't know if they want to get a sliver horror or something, and it produces tokens in some way, but it's different, right? Makes it a different way. That'd be cool. I enjoy that. They do that, I go, cool, I'm okay. Use the other card. Okay. But that being said, it's still not Sliver Queen. And if it's different enough, you might want to play this specific Sliver Queen for a numerous amount of reasons. You can sit there and list it over and over. I like the art style of the old Magic cards. They look horrifying. This card is terrifying. It's nightmarish. You don't get that anymore for the most part. You know? It has great flavor text. Her children are every part of her. She in herself just drops the children off. Mana is flowing in the world, regardless of the color here, and it's just like, Boom, another sliver, another sliver, another sliver. They have to defeat the Sliver Queen in the story. The lore behind her is so cool. Everything about her is interesting. But I would never drop $300 to buy her. I did drop $150, got a fake, returned it, got my money back. But that was back when I had money. I was a naive college. Yeah. This is one of the reasons you would want a proxy. And we're going to go over all of the reasons someone might want a proxy. There's a commander they want to play. And this has the double-edged sword that I will explain. As the proxy lover, I have one or two acquaintances who are against proxying for the most part. I think they're against proxying for themselves. They don't really care if someone else. Dependent on a few things. We'll get to those. The argument against proxying a commander is, well, I mean, make the rest of the deck pretty cheap. Spend the $300 on a good Sliver Queen, right? It's an investment, you know, it might go up in price. If more slivers are reprinted and stuff, yeah, you'll get the Sliver Queen will go up in price. People are going to want to build her, especially slivers. Like if we actually get the slivers that buff them, then it's cool to run the Sliver Queen because she makes those little ones. So if we get more buffing slivers out, then yeah, the Sliver Queen will go up in price. People will play it. But here's the thing. If they do give us a reprint of the Sliver Queen in a different format, a different, like, wordage, Sliver Queen the second or whatever, then it might go down in price. So the market can be volatile. You might not get the best quality card. There's a lot of reasons as to why. Is it worth trading for? I don't think so. $300, dude. You've got, what, $300? You've got like 10, 15, yeah, do you have 15, $20 cards you can trade to this person for their one Sliver Queen? Like, it's not easy, okay? But the argument is, again, well, if this is the only expensive card in the deck, is it? No, there's other slivers you're going to want to run that are like $50+. Okay, well then proxy them. Why not just proxy all of them? I don't know, just... You proxy because a card's expensive, or because you can't find a card, okay? And that's so 100% the reason you'd proxy, because Magic's expensive. You don't have the money to put into this, nor should you. Money should not be the reason you can't play Magic the Gathering with your friends, okay? It just shouldn't. I've helped people build decks out of my bulk just so they didn't have to spend money on Magic the Gathering. And then they started to spend money on Magic the Gathering at like local game stores where they went, I really like the deck I built with you. I need these few other cards, so I picked a few of them up and spent $50 on my hobby. That's perfectly fine. You spent $50 to make your deck better. That's what you wanted to do. Cool. Okay? But let's get into some of these cards. And we're going to talk the reserve list. And they're sorted by why they're expensive, mind you. But they're not sorted as to why someone would want to proxy them. Or should you proxy them? And first off, we're going to talk about the dual lands. All dual lands are $100+. They're all on the reserve list. And here's the thing about dual lands that you have to know. You should not proxy them unless you're playing in a proxy tournament for like Legacy or Vintage, or if you're playing CDH. Brackets 4 and down, you don't need a proxy duel. I think that is a spot I'll sit and die on that. You don't. Because in that case, everyone should proxy dual lands, and that becomes problematic. Okay? I think proxying should be used to be able to build the deck. If there's a card you're like, I need this card for the deck, for it, because of the synergies of the card. That makes sense. This does not give you a synergy in the deck. There are equivocal cards you can put in your deck. Maybe the deck won't be as good by like maybe 2%, probably 1%, but you shouldn't be proxying unless, again, you're in, unless everyone in your group's doing it. Like, if everyone's like, oh no, we're just gonna proxy dual lands, just do it. We know what it does. Put bad lands on there, make a little red and black symbol. We know that it's a mountain swamp. It's one of the easiest things. They are one of the easiest things to do, right? You just get a basic land and just like put a line through it, and like, I know you can do it pretty simply to just say, yeah, it's a mountain, it's badlands, it's a mountain swamp. Cool. Most people go, yeah. So if you're in a group and you all agree, yeah, just proxy them so that we have better land mana. And I guess that'll be my argument for it, right? So against it, you don't need dual lands in your decks to be able to function. Against it, that's against proxying it, right? For proxying dual lands, if your group all agree, hey, we want a really good mana package in our deck, like a land package, we all want a good land package, so that's not what's stopping us. I don't want you to draw into a mountain when it could have been a Badlands, which would have allowed you to play a card. If that's what's stopping you from enjoying Magic, if your enjoyment is, I really like Magic, but the land mana stuff is kind of archaic, and I wanted to get rid of that, or at least limit the problematicness of running a 3 or 4 color deck with mostly basics, where crap, I keep drawing into my forests, what am I supposed to do, right? Let's just proxy all these, and you can look at the Badlands, but I'm even talking shock lands and fetch lands that run anywhere from $10 to $50, $60, okay? Don't spend $10 on a Magic card unless you can afford it. Please, proxy it. Heck, don't spend $5. If it's $1, ask me. I'll give you $1 to go buy the 99-cent or 250-cent cards that you want to use, okay? That's fine. I'll help you there. Almost anyone can help you there. Most people go like, dude, I got $1 here. But if it's a $10 card and you can't afford it, but it's gonna build your deck, this is very much why I heavily suggest, if you do build your deck out of bulk, either your friend's bulk or your bulk or someone's bulk or something, right? And you have the deck and you enjoy it, build it on Moxfield. Build it on Moxfield, card to card, find other cards that look like they might work. That way you can test out deck gameplay, and you can test out hands and see the whole curve, and you can do all of this in this nice little neat bubble. So you can then go, yeah, that card needs to be in the deck. I was able to test out enough hands that when I have it like turn 3 or 4, it's such a good card. It functions so well with my commander. That's when you proxy those. But yeah, there are reasons to proxy dual lands that aren't just I'm playing CDH. If you all agree that you just want good mana packages, do it. Okay? Cities of Shadow, and some of these I'm gonna have to go view detail, is just an interesting card. So there are some cards that you want to proxy because you found it interesting, right? Exile creature you control, put a storage counter on this land. Add 1 colorless for each storage counter on this land. If you're running, like, these are the cards, and there's a lot of them where it's such a niche card. Most people go like, well, it's $50, right? Just no one's ever going to see this card. But if you run into it, you might go, oh man, my token deck, my colorless token deck that generates tokens, and I can just, and untap stuff, I could untap the City of Shadows, keep exiling the tokens I make, so that eventually it taps for like a bunch of mana. It would be kind of fun to put this in Sliver Queen, because you make all these tokens, and then eventually, if you just keep exiling them, and if you ran some untap stuff, you could just go like, oh cool, let's tap City of Shadows for like 4 and make 2 tokens. And if you're running some type of proliferate in a deck, you could proliferate the stuff on this. Because you're putting a storage counter on the land, you can proliferate all this stuff. And now you can add even more. There's cool things you can do with City of Shadows, but it's on the reserve list, so people don't even think about it. And it's so archaic writing that you have to be on a place like here to understand it. That's why someone would want to proxy this. It's an interesting card that happened to work in their really niche commander deck. And they went, I'm not spending 50 bucks on a card that's only going to be used in one deck. Just proxy it. And let's do a tangent here. If you are worried about, well, proxying's not free because I have to print it. You don't have to print it, guys. If you have a smartphone, make sure you download it, put it into like in your, if it's, I don't know how Apple's work as well as I do know how Androids work, but in your gallery, make a little folder called Sliver Queen, and you have all the cards you're proxying there. So then you can just write the name on the back of a land and go, here we go, Cities of Shadows, I'm going to play that. I know what it does, I've read it. If you want to know, I've got my phone out, it's charged, you can look at the card. Okay? I'll send it to you so you can look at it on your own phone if you want to see what it does. Okay? Otherwise, what you do is you hit the, you go here and you view the details and you go, okay, here's the not complicated version of what it does. Write it on a piece of paper and then slide it into the card. You're not playing competitive. No one's going to be mad. You're not going to get someone who goes, well, that's going to change the whole flow of the shuffling. No, it's not, guys. This is a casual game. Enjoy it. Cities of Shadows is such a cool card. It's such a unique card. And more people should play it because it's fun. Magic should be fun. Cities of Traders at CDH card and its ramp. But very, very unique ramp in the form of, like, if you play a land, you have to sack it. But that's okay. City of Traders is a very fun card that helps you get your commander out earlier, okay? It's $400 and has a downside. But if your deck heavily relies on your commander, I think there's a reason to proxy this card. Now, if proxying became more reliable and more people were doing it, I think a lot of people do it, just not a lot of people talk about doing it. I think this card would be on the game changer list. It is technically a card that ramps you by an extra turn, and that's a little broken, and I honestly would put it on the game changer list because Gaia's Cradle's there. And Gaia's Cradle is a $1,499, yeah, it's a $1,500 card. Well, let's go to the Elephant Graveyard. This is another one similar to City of Shadows, where you can tap it for a colorless, or you can regenerate target elephant. And that is so fun. If you're running an elephant deck, you want to put this in your deck, but you don't want to spend $200, right? Again, it's the idea of running a niche card, which is fun. And Lake of the Dead's the same thing. You want to be able to run Lake of the Dead. Almost every mono black deck I design puts Lake of the Dead in it, okay? Because I'm going to proxy it. It comes into play, you sacrifice a swamp, or you have to sacrifice land, Lake of the Dead. It taps for a black, or you can tap it to sacrifice the swamp and add 4. That's just such a cool thing. There's a huge downside to it. No one's going to sit here going, oh, you're over-ramping. No, they're going to say, dude, that's such a cool card. I never knew that card existed because it's on the reserve list, and no one talks about the reserve list other than to say they hate the reserve list. But Gaia's Cradle, guys, don't spend $1,500 on a... Don't spend your month's rent on a Magic the Gathering card. Please don't. Just don't. If you're a whale out there and you can afford it, good for you, but don't spend $1,500 on a Magic card. Just proxy it. Now, it's a game changer, so do not proxy it into bracket 1 and 2. Proxy it into 3, 4, and 5. And only into 3 if it's a card you need. If your deck is like, I need a lot of mana, then yeah, proxy it into your 3, use it as one of your 3 game changers, and I think you'll enjoy it. But it's seeing play in CDH a lot, so it's spiked. People bought it, it's spiked. But don't buy it, guys, just proxy it. Scorched Ruin is another one of the cool ones. Enters, you have to sacrifice 2 untapped lands you control, but it taps for 4 color. Okay? It's only $50. Yeah, but that's like half a grocery trip. Or a tank of gas. Save the money, guys. Please, just Proxy Scorched Ruins. It is a fun card in your colorless deck to help you ramp up in a cool way. Or in your lands deck where you know you can recur the cards from your graveyard. Fun. Don't buy it. Sarah's Sanctum is another one of those cards where you add a color, it's on the Game Changers, just like a Gaia's Cradle, for obvious reasons. You get to add a white for each enchantment you control. It kind of pushes you to that next level because there's a lot of cheap enchantments you can be running in like Stack's deck, and that kind of pushes you to where, oh yeah, you can only untap one land. The one land you're untapping is Sarah's Sanctum though. So it taps for my 5 enchantments, and I'm in a mono white Stack's deck. So that's why it's there. I think it deserves to be there. It's a fraction of the price. It's 5 times cheaper than Gaia's Cradle, but it's still, don't proxy this into groups 1 and 2. All the different dual lands. Yavimaya Hollow is another very interesting $90 card. You add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, or you can pay a green and tap it to regenerate target creature. This is such a fun card in like 1 or 2 color decks where you can afford the colorless mana, but you want to have a way to protect your commander. It's a land. You can protect your commander. You can just go like, no, I'm going to keep this open, and for green, I'm going to keep 2 lands open, and now, boom, my commander regenerates, so it's not dead. That's good. It's such a fun way to protect your commander by removing a forest from your deck and just adding this. But you wouldn't think of it because it's expensive. But if you go and decide that proxies are okay and that you want to run a card in your deck to protect your commander, and this is an interesting way to do it, do it. This is another one of those just like interesting cards. Come on, if I can click on the right button. There we go. At the beginning of upkeep, you destroy a creature with laced power. It can't be generated. If 2 or more creatures are tied with it, you choose. If there are no creatures in the battlefield, sacrifice this enchantment. It's such a fun, kind of like hate-filled way to just force everyone to start sacrificing everything, especially in a deck. Let's name a popular commander. Belta. Belta's a 12/12. He will always be on the field. He's like the biggest guy. He's not going to die. This goes, oh, it's your upkeep? As at the beginning, during your upkeep. Yeah, that you got to sacrifice it. You got to destroy it. So destroy it. Did it say destroy or sacrifice? Destroy it, and it can't be regenerated. Which isn't super important, but yeah, being able to do something like that with a 1-drop is such an interesting idea. And yeah, Storm World is the same thing, where if at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that this enchantment deals X damage to that player, or X is 4 minus the number of cards in their hand. So 4 minus the number of cards in hand. So like, if they have no cards in hand, they're 4. So this is a Hellbent deck where you're like discarding everything. And guess what? This is a 1-drop that gives you something to do in a deck where you're making everyone discard their hands. A lot of times there's not a lot to do. You just kind of go, I can't make them discard, I can't do much. But this gives you something to do. But you wouldn't think of it because no one plays it because it's a $40 card sitting in the reserve list. So less people play it. So if you're looking through EDH cards, rec cards that are popular, this isn't going to be there. But if you're playing a burn deck, this is such a good card. And like a burn deck or a Hellbent deck, discard deck, that it should be put in that deck as a way to just burn your opponents for 4 damage. Now, you might wonder, why is Zodiac Rat here? Okay. Is it a niche card? Yeah, there is a mono black commander called Gix. Gix is one of my favorite. Is my favorite Magic the Gathering character. Zodiac Rat has Swamp Walk. There are many ways in mono black to give lands and turn them into swamps. And Zodiac Rat is a 1-drop for a 1/1 with Swamp Walk that hits them and triggers Gix. It's a $24 card. I'm not spending $24 on this card. I'm just gonna proxy it. But this is another one. You want to play a Hugs deck? One of the best HUD card out there is Anvil of Borgadon. Okay? Anvil of Borgadon is 2 generic. Players have no maximum hand size, and at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card and discards a card. This is so good. This allows them to get 2 cards, -1, so they actually only ever +1 card, but it's interesting. It also triggers discard for you if you're playing a discard deck, and on top of that, guys, it gives no players hand size. Everyone has no maximum hand size, which is great for wheel decks, because if they have no maximum hand size, they don't go down to 8 on your turn when you're going to play a sorcery. They're going to have 10, 20 cards. If you keep making them draw hugs, then you wheel and everyone has to draw 20 cards. Cyrus loves this type of card, but it's $40. So don't buy it. This is another $1,400 card, which not a lot of you probably even know what it does. Long book. Here's the simple one. If a player would draw a card except the first one they draw on each of the draw steps, that player discards a card instead. If a player discards a card this way, they draw a card. If the player doesn't discard a card this way, they mill a card. So, here's how this works. Untap, upkeep, draw a card, you're fine. Then, if a player would draw a card, so someone goes and says, you play a card, someone says draw a card. That player discards a card instead. Okay, I gotta discard a card. If that player discards a card this way, they draw a card. Cool, draw a card. If the player doesn't discard a card this way, they mill a card. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So that second draw I don't think triggers. If that player discards a card this way, they draw a card. I don't think that triggers it. I don't think it's like an infinite. They discard everything and draw their deck out. That's not how this card works. But it does, you know, it's a way to force your opponents to constantly discard. And it's such a good card in discard decks, because if you're running a commander that says whenever your opponent discards, Chain of Mephistopheles does that for you. Oh, you want to draw a card? No, actually, discard, then draw. Every draw you get is actually a rummage. And turning everything into a rummage is insane. And if you can't rummage, you mill. And you don't get to draw a card. And that's crazy, because then if you hellbend everyone, they don't get to draw cards except for the first card they draw each turn. Which then could possibly get them out of it, but probably not. So it's really crazy. It's fun. It's interesting. It's kind of not nice, so not a lot of people run it in the first place, but it's a fun card. Okay. Same thing with like something like this. Deals 1 damage to each player during his or her upkeep. You might say that's not great, and it's not necessarily great. But at 2 generic, here's my kitty cat. Gonna meow at me? He meowed at me. But it is a simple way to deal damage to people, guys. Copy Artifact is another one of those where you just... I think this one just makes a copy. You may have this enchantment enter as a copy of an artifact, except it's addition to its other types. Yeah, right. Which is great, because a cheap way to just be able to go, hey, I have a copy of an artifact is fun. And it should be played more. It's not broken. You just copy the best thing on the field. And the same thing with other crap. Tap 2 untap creatures you control, untap target basic land. There are some combos with this, but outside of this, more people should run this in their creature-based deck or their token deck. If this wasn't a $150 card, more people would run this in their token decks, and they'd be able to go, oh, check this out. I'm just gonna tap my 2 tokens and untap a land. All 2 of my, whenever you make 2 tokens, you're all of a sudden creating. Tap and untap, tap and untap creature you control. Untap, So each token you make untaps a land you create. So all of a sudden your tokens basically say tap add a mana of any color. But you tap the token to untap a land. Okay? It's not broken, it's just a great ramp card in specific decks. All elf decks should probably run this. Because it gives... Yeah, Shroud to all your elves. It's a 2-drop, and the game Forest Walk. And there's now a card to make every plant a forest, so... It's a win con. It's a drop this card, win the game. Or if you have the setup, and that's great. Fork is fun. You just double something. Gilded Drake is a CDH card. I don't like stealing cards from people in lower formats, and I'm against people this is an example of like a card that I'm against people proxying this card into lower formats. It's not on the Game Changers. It shouldn't be on the Game Changers, and stealing people's cards is part of Magic, and just get over it. But in tier 2 and 1, I'm just really in that notion of make sure they understand that your deck is going to be stealing cards that they're playing. At least Gilded Drake is just a one-off, but if you're running a deck that is all about stealing cards that they're running, it's kind of rude. But here's another cool lord. Kobolds have first strike. If you're running a Kobolds deck, you need this card in there. There's not a lot of Kobolds, but $60 card. Power Artifact is actually super interesting. Enchant Artifact activated abilities cost 2 less to activate. The artifact can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1. But it's a way to go infinite with certain cards that have the untap ability to artifacts. Can't be up here, back down. But that's what I'm saying. There are a lot of cards that are like, why would you want to proxy this card? Because it's cool. Because it's interesting, or because it fits in my deck. Just because it's doing that one thing my deck is doing. Or your stuff like, I want to run Aiden Oakenshield or Angus McKenzie as my commander. And I don't want to run the new ones. I want to run the old ones because I like the concept. You could just proxy them. All of that being said, if we get past all these interesting, cool-looking cards that are on the reserve list, right? And, you know, I've brought up reasons why you'd want to run cards. Let's talk about a few more reasons as to why something should be proxied. Needs a reprint. Caverns of Souls needs another reprint. It should be printed into the ground. Field of the Dead needs a reprint. It's a great way to win in landfall decks in tier 3 and higher. These are getting reprints, and they're still expensive. Monamo needs a reprint. Untapping a legendary is so great in decks where your commander taps. If you need if you're in blue in your commander deck, and your commander taps for its effect, running Monamo makes sense. It's a fantastic meaty point in that 33 package, but it's a land, so it's just an additional. It puts you at 34 because it takes a spot of a land, and that's so good. But same thing with like Nykthos Shrine of Nyx. It needs a reprint because people should be able to play devotion decks. Prismatic Vista needs a reprint so that you can have an interesting fetch land for cheaper stuff. Why are fetch lands so expensive? I don't run fetch lands in my non-CDH decks, or I mean, if I was building a bracket 4, I would run them too. But I don't run fetch lands because I find the idea of running an expensive land package bad. I don't like to. But going back to the same thing with dual lands, if you're like, no, I want you to be able to make sure you have your lands you can hit, yeah, then you run the fetch lands that are at least in your color. Don't run the ones outside your color. It's a point. But then you have cards like Shinzo and Urborg. Both are super fun cards. Both are too expensive. Now you might say, well, Urborg's 65. I might be able to understand that, but Shinzo's only 27. And I will state this. Do you want to spend $30 on a Magic card? Go ahead. But in my opinion, that $30 could have taken my wife and I out to eat. And that experience would have been more fun than buying a $30 Magic. Now, if you live alone, $30 could also still buy you a new indie game. 2 new indie games. Those are going to give you more time to do stuff than a single card in Magic the Gathering. When you could have proxied. But yeah, these are a bunch of cards that are expensive and either have been printed recently so that they aren't going to get one anytime soon. Oh, wait. But change tags. This one doesn't need print. This one won't be a reprint. We'll fix that. But yeah, these are just a lot of cards that need reprinted in Magic the Gathering. And even though they have been, like this card, this random card is really good in landfall decks, but it's $50 and it hasn't been reprinted. Please reprint it so my landfall deck can run it. Zoo is a viable option in Magic Commander now because hurts. But they won't give it to us. But here's another cool one. Bet you ever wanted to run Bravik because he's a cool mill commander. Yeah, no. $50. Oh, you heard. Oh. Changing tags again. Go back to that. But yeah, there's some cards like, and they should be pre-printed. Okay. Some people want to argue, well, but then my value, it goes down with my Solemn Simulacrum, my Simulacrum Synthesizer deck in Modern. I have 4 of them, and they're $43 each. And I don't want to lose that money, so please don't reprint it. You'd make my deck cheaper, and I like having $200 worth of cards out of just 4 one-ofs. Or out of 4, 1 4 of. Please? Oh yeah, I really like my Legacy deck to cost $70 more, and I run 2 of them, so that's actually $140 more. Like, oh, I need Force Negation for Modern, and it's foil version's only $65, but foil is Pringle, and I can't run them competitively, so I have to spend $75 on 4 copies. Reprint it! Sorry, that definitely fucked my thing up. Reprint it. Please. Please, 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 please. Reprint these cards so people can actually play Magic the Gathering at an affordable cost. And sure, like cards like Fierce Guardianship and Force of Negation, I'm not a fan of people running. And that's what people are afraid of when it comes to Proxy. People are worried that they're just going to proxy the best cards in. They think that the lower tiers are blocked off because people don't proxy and people don't run expensive cards, right? They don't run Force of Negation and Fierce Guardianship because they're 60 and 65 each, and that just stops them from running it. They would definitely run it if they could. Would they? I mean, like, if you just talk about it and all have a group chat and understanding, or like if you're at a local card shop, and here's the thing, if you're at a local card shop, there should be someone running the games, someone that's entitled to everything so that they can talk about it, they can set rules, right? And if you talk about, hey, you know, we're gonna be pushing the idea of the different tiers, right? And the easiest way you could do it is you could tell people to go on Moxfield and get it, or to give us a sheet of the decks to identify where your deck is at, right? And then at that point, it's like, yeah, you can proxy cards as long as you stay within the same tier, right? That's fine. Not for tournaments, but for casual games. Proxy. Now, you might say, well, wouldn't they lose money? Because they won't be able to sell their super expensive card. No, because the people proxying weren't going to buy the expensive card in the first place. So no one's losing money here, guys. No one's losing money. Everyone has their price point and where they will start proxying if they are a proxier. For me, honestly, it's $10 or more. I'm not spending on a Magic card at this point in my life. If I was making more and a little bit more sound, it'd be 20, right? But that's what it breaks down to. You have to understand that if you're gonna proxy, you don't want to break your deck. You're not trying to proxy to, well, okay, you might be proxying in order to get your deck to bracket 4 so you can play with your bracket 4 friends or your CEDH friends at bracket 5. But don't proxy to curve stomp. If you're proxying to curve stomp, the problem isn't proxying, it's the individual proxying. That one person. Don't look at everyone who proxies a monster. No, it's you ran into one person who proxied a really broken card and had a bad time. But there's some cool commanders like Ashcoat and Greymond and Halvar that are all $30+, 30, 70, and 60. That, yes, again, you can get them cheaper if they're destroyed. But, like, if you want to get them from, like, Card Kingdom at an affordable price that look good, then, you know, I'm a lonely person who will never be anything. But if I ever got to the point that I could get someone to sponsor me, I love Card Kingdom. They're fantastic. Call me a shill for them if you want to, but Mana Echoes is another one of those cards. That's just such a good, fun card to use that you can't. Trouble in Paris is a $35 card. It's a really good card for lower colored decks. Shieldred, it's a $100 card, and you want to run it in your deck because it's a great way to burn your opponents out. Shapeshift is an expensive card that needs to be played in almost every landfall deck because it triggers landfall insanely. You play this, you sack your 10 lands, you end up with 10 more lands, getting 10 landfall triggers. Rev's a cool commander, can't play her. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. This is, I think this is the walking version of the vampire, like the vampire one that when they lose life, you gain life. Interesting. Another way to win that way, right? And yeah, there's the go. The cheapest Sliver Legion is 50, 40, okay, so 48 if you foil it, 50 if you foil it, and 23 if you foil it. That's just more money to add to your, oh, I want to make a Sliver deck, right? Oh, you want to play a monocolor deck, and Chromatic Orrery seems like a really good card for your monocolor deck? That's awesome. Oh, sorry. Chromatic Orrery is 5-color. You want to run a 5-color deck, and you want a really interesting draw engine for your 5-color deck, doesn't matter. It's a $50 card. But yeah, they need to reprint certain cards. And yeah, okay, this breaks the thing. I'm not going to move it. Well, I'm going to skip the new cards. These are cards that will never get rid of. And this is where proxying is becoming a big step back here. New cards. Yeah, if a card is already spoiled, I honestly think go ahead and proxy it if you want to test it in your deck. If you see Tezzeret and go, I think this would be great in my deck, I want to test it. Or Earthos Titanic God Core, you think it'd be such a cool card because it's a station and eventually it becomes add one green, one blue for each artifact you control, and you're running like your artifact creature deck. This is such a fun card. Okay, so go. I think proxying cards that have been spoiled is fine. You can show it off. They're like, what's that card? And you'd be like this. But this is the big part. This is the thing that Final Fantasy, being the first standard legal Universe Beyond sets that printed a lot of cards. This leads to a massive issue. Wizards of the Coast does not own the rights to Final Fantasy. Square Enix does. And Wizards of the Coast does not own the rights to continue making cards for Final Fantasy, for the most part, as far as we know. And what this does is this says, hey, Cloud is a $32 card that's just going to go up. Because we, as the players, do not know if they can reprint them. We don't. And if you wanted to run this Cloud or put him in your 99, he's just going to keep going up. And I know some people out there are against Universe Beyond. I love it. I think it's super cool. I think the art has so far always matched the world 9 out of 10 times. I think Walking Dead was the first one, and it didn't super match, but some of them did. But, like, Cloud looks great. He looks like he belongs here. It's super interesting. It's super cool. I like this. I think they fit in the world. Like, if you just put them on their own, like, planet or their own universe, right? Beyond the eternities or something. That's kind of cool. Okay. The thing is we don't know if Cloud or his Buster Sword or Captain America is ever going to get reprinted. You know, Garrison's a $47 card. When it first came out, it was like a $2 card. But now people like it. It's a popular commander, and it's going to just keep going up in price because it's Warhammer, and they're never going to reprint it. And even though they told us at one point that the Universe Beyonds are always going to get the Magic the Gathering equivalent. Cool, which ones? Are you gonna reprint all of Final Fantasy into a secondary set that's just non-Final Fantasy version? Is Cloud gonna get a Magic the Gathering version of himself? And if you do that with Final Fantasy, will you also do the precons? Are you gonna just, like, do you have it all set up? Is it just sitting there ready to go hit? And this is the Universe Within version, Universe Within Final Fantasy set, and it's all the same cards, but it's within the Magic the Gathering universe. Print them all out. If that's the case, maybe then, you know, be more upfront that you're still doing it. But most people don't think they are. We don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think they are going to just keep the third party market, you know. But, like, they haven't reprinted the Jurassic Park cards, and now they're going up in price. Lara Croft is a very cool commander. It's expensive, and it's never being reprinted, as far as we know. There's only ever been one version of it. You know? Sephiroth is a very popular commander. Same thing, problem with Cloud. But here's one of the most annoying ones, the 14th Doctor. The 14th Doctor is the doctor that runs all the other doctors, and it's such a cool commander, and I love it. It's $130. What are you going to do? They will never reprint the Doctor Who cards. They won't. And that's the issue. Vivi will never get reprinted. Wolverine will never get reprinted. The Sonic cards are all already on TCG players sitting at like $30 a piece. Okay? Like, there's an issue with Magic the Gathering, and that issue is the cost to play the game. Okay? Who's the one who does it? Commander Quarters? Is that their name? Let me double check. That's right. His name is the Commander Quarters. And he makes decks that are $100 or under, where every card is $1 or less, right? Or, like, because your lands are cheaper and basic lands aren't counted towards the total because you can get them for free at your local game store, you then have a little extra money to spend, so you might spend like $5 on the, what he calls the golden pig. I call mine the golden potato of the deck, where it's a $5 card, but you need it. And okay, so this commander is cheap enough to make an extra $100 deck, or this commander is $50, but we're gonna just say you happen to have it. Let's not add it to the price and give you $100, right? And that's a thing. It's something to be said that a channel like that not only was made, but is thriving because Commander's so expensive. Magic the Gathering is so expensive. You can't just have fun and play the game. You have to have money to play. It's up there with, like, Warhammer 40k, that if you want to be able to play, it's expensive. And if you want my opinion on that, if I ever got into that, I would be getting a 3D printer and just printing my own unit and playing with friends. I can't afford to get it. I think the whole place is cool, but no thank you. 40k fans, let me know if 3D printing your own figures is Gucci or super frowned upon, and where that lands with versus like Proxy. But yeah, I'll end this with all this for food for thought. Let me know down in the comment section below, right down in that doobly-doo. What are your thoughts on Proxy? Are you if it's a certain price, then I think people should be allowed to proxy. $50 or more, than proxy, right? Are you a $20 or more than proxy? Are you a I don't care proxy in the entire deck, just play with me? Are you a proxy the entire deck, but like keep it within the fundamentals of tier of whatever bracket you're in, right? Are you just fully against it because you think Magic should only be played with real cards, and anyone playing fake cards should just not be allowed to play? And I guess let me know, are you against proxying personally because you just don't like proxying? Or are you, and like you're fine if someone else proxies a card, right? You just don't want to because you don't like to. Let me know. There's a lot of ways to proxy, and I never even talked about the fact that there are very fantastic artists out there that do make tokens and proxies of Magic the Gathering cards that are great for use, and they're a lot cheaper. There are proxies of like dual lands for like $10, and you can get the full set for $10, and that's so cool to be able to use well-made proxies that feel like actual Magic cards. They don't have the dual land art, mind you, okay? Proxying in the sense of like, here's like a fake Magic card is wrong and needs to be stated at the end of this so people understand. I am against fake Magic cards. I am with fake Magic cards attempting to be real ones, okay? Fake Magic cards obviously being fake, but they're the same width and weight and everything as Magic cards, so you can use them. Down by with. Let me know what you guys think down below. Everyone have a great night. Peace.